So yeah, so we will see like how to import and import some records, bulk records to any object like custom object or standard object, or uh, even same way like export and export also. Means both we will see how to export and how to import. So there like if we remember, like we have different ways of creating records, right? Like we can creating records or updating records, deleting or whatever. So if we are doing some data manipulation or so we have different ways. So one is using UI. So we can go to the respective object and then we can create a record or update a record or delete a record if we have sufficient privileges. So that is one way, and a very known way is that. So then we have. So if we need to create in bulk, if we want to create some 1,000 records, 2,000 records, or some lakhs of records, so then we can go with different options. So we don't need to create each and every record manually. Suppose like I have some 10 lakhs primary contacts. So I don't need to create each and every one. But in some time, maybe in like I can create one or two, or per day some few contacts I can create. But I can't keep on creating those thousands of contacts, right? So there are some like ways to import this bulk records. So first one is using spreadsheet. So if we know about macros, so where we can put all our data, and then in that macro itself, it will ask username and password and URL. So based on that, the data like will be uploaded. So if you remember setup assistant, so there we can download a macro file of Excel, and then there we can input some information, right? Company name, address, all that we can fill, and then if we submit, or not the setup assistant, but there is one more thing called currency import for importing currency values. So there we can use this actually macros we can see, and even in general, like we can use for a specific object also. So that is one way, using macros, and macros will support up to some thousands of records. And if we want to go beyond that, we can use import and export management. So in Sales Cloud, we have under tools, we have import and export management. So if we go to tools, you can see import management and export management. So import is nothing but we are creating or updating or deleting some records by uploading some Excel sheets into Oracle Sales Cloud system. Export means we are taking the data from Sales Cloud to our local machine, or some way we are taking out from Sales Cloud. So that is called export. And then, so using these methods, we can send some at a time we can import 50 lakh, no, not 50 lakh, 50,000 records per file. So we can put some 50,000 records in one file, and then we can upload, so that all that 50,000 records will be created. And there is also like one more, if we want to, for few objects, we can import high volume. that is for account, contact, service request. So for like these objects, we can use high volume import. So where we can import up to 5 lakh records. So this is one way that inbuilt system will give these tools, and using that we can import and export. And also, like we can use web services to import or to create records. Like if we know REST API and SOAP API, so using those endpoints, we can create records, we can update records. So all that CRUD operations we can do. So CRUD operations means create, R means read, E means edit, D means delete. So so in general, we can use a CRUD operation means CRUD operations means create, read, edit, delete. So all these actions we can do in import or web services, or wherever we can see manipulation, right? So we can use all of these. Yeah. So mainly we will use and we can easily use import and export management. And today we will be seeing on these two tools. Okay. So suppose we can export custom objects and standard objects also, right? So yeah. So first we'll go with export management. We'll see how to export an object from the system. So for that, I'm clicking on export management. So this is the export screen. So this dashboard will show like what are the export activities that are queued. So and actively running export jobs, completed jobs with status, and unsuccessful, and all of the like summarized information. And if any export jobs like are running or scheduled, so that will appear here in the screen. If we go to export objects, right? So what we can see is what are the objects that are supported or that we can see here. So that sample templates or that mapping, so we can see that, or what are the attributes available for each object. So all that we can see here. So we'll see event object only. So this is a custom object, right? Earlier we saw. So we'll try to export, but we can export even standard objects also. So it's not restricted. We can export contact, account, lead, opportunity. We can export. If I click on this event, you can notice that if there is any parent object for this event object, it will show here. And if there is any since this is a parent object, this icon will be it will show. If it is child object, it will not show. And the respective the fields available in event object will show in right corner. So we can see all the fields available in event object. And here we can see some required fields. Okay, so these are required by default. And if you notice ID, it will generate automatically. So we don't need to give created by creation date, last updated date, conflict ID, owner. So these are all almost it can be, we can, system will give it. So while creating a record, system only will give it. So we don't need to give these fields. But if we make something required, so suppose like source type, if we made this field as required, and then that will also come here, and for this field we should give a value. So and if we go to user key, so if you go to user key, there is a record number. So this is a key for this particular object. Okay. And also the ID field is the primary key we can use as record number. Also ID so whenever we create event object, okay, so backend it will create one unique ID. So for each record there will be one unique ID. So so using that we can use for backend purpose, like in Groovy, if you want to fetch that record ID, or if you want to set to some TCL, so we can use this particular backend ID, because names, event names can be same sometimes, or for example, like if we have contacts, in example, if we take contact with the same name, there can be two persons, so we can't differentiate, right? So to differentiate, like this IDs, backend IDs will helpful. So in backend it will create different IDs, so we can differentiate easily. And export configuration is to just export some related to this exports. Any? Yeah, this is just for sending notifications about the export jobs. So now we'll see how to export a particular object. So for that we should use this create export activity button, so that an export job will be create like it will. This is the first step to export. So we can give name here. So I'm trying to export event object data, and object I need to select. So here I have the list of objects. So you can see accounts and contact, opportunity, lead, all of that you can see here. I want event, right? So either I can select from this list, or I can select by just typing. So file name automatically will copy, and if we want to export some attachments also, so we can check this, and attachments, whatever attachments available in this event object, so it will be available in this export, in this attachments. Okay, we'll check that also. And we have some advanced options where we can specify like file format, date format, delimiters, file encoding, all of this. So yeah, so all of that, if we want, we can change. But if we don't want, we can just leave it as it is. And in export options, we can see send notification email, so that once once this job is completed, it will send a notification. Okay, it will send notification to the emails which we are specifying here. So after specifying the notification information, like we can select a schedule type. So we can send or we can export this immediately, or we can use schedule. So if we select schedule, right, so we can schedule it after some time, or 1 day or 2 day. So after some time we can schedule, but we can't put it as a recurring job. Okay, so it's only one time scheduled, so we can only schedule one time. We can't make it like to run daily, something like that. So that option is not available in export management. So for now I'm putting immediate, but if you want we can give we can use the scheduled mode. So then we can click next. So this is like here what we can select is if we have any child objects, right? So it will display here. There will be one like currently this is the only one parent object. But if it has if it is a child, if it is a parent object, and if it has some four child objects, so then here few more objects will be coming, and like this enabled and filter will also come here. So if we don't want that child objects, we can uncheck, and we those will not come as part of this export. If we want, we can just check those child objects. And by default few fields will be like selected. If we want the other fields, we can select, or if you want to see all of the field values, we can just use this send all, so that all will be selected. After that we need to give some filter here. So filter is required. So if we go next step without any filter, it will throw an error. So for that we should give some filter. So it can be like creation date after a particular date, or before a particular date, or uh, between these two dates. So we can use that. So for now, what I'll give. So this is how we can give the filters here. So since here we have the ID is like the primary key is ID, right, or a record number. So I can use any one of this. I'm saying ID is not equal to null, so that no record will have like will not have this ID. Means no, I mean every record will have this ID value, which is generated by system. So what I'm saying, ID is not null, so that every record in this object will come. So that's my expectation. And we can give order also here. Suppose I want to give the order by creation date, okay, and ascending or descending. So I'll give DESC, descending order. Okay, so then I'll validate. Script is valid. So if you put something wrong here, right, like I'm removing one character here, okay, it is still saying, okay, or we'll use something. Yeah, you can see it is not able to identify this IDFF field, because it is a wrong field. So we need to give a proper field name and proper operator. So then only it will validate. So then I can close, save and close, and I can continue for next step. So if we want this same mapping to be saved, we can save and we can use further. So this is the overview screen or review screen. So where we can see all the information that we added in step 1 and step 2. We can just see everything is good. Then we can click submit. So depending on the data, it will take some time and it will export. Okay, now you can see it is queued. So under queued, we can see the status. So if we refresh here, the job status change will be like we can see the details status, or even we can go to this name. And we can see the like in detail about this job. So where it will say how much percentage is done and what is the state. So first it will come to queue, and then it will prepare the data or the template for exporting, and after that it will export the existing data, and then finally it will complete. So the screen will automatically refresh for every few seconds. If not, we can use this refresh button. So in the export attachments, after completing this job, in export attachment, we can see the file name here and the size, description, all that here. And in actions, we can see one button called download or link to download that file. So that's where like we can download the file. Okay, so it's completed successfully, and just creating some attachments. So we'll quickly see. Okay, yeah. So file is generated. So it will give a zip file. So if we have something like 1 lakh data, so it will create 2 CSV files. It will split that files like by every 50,000 records. So each 50,000 records will be stored in one file. So I'm downloading it and I'm opening it. I can unzip. So currently, I think I have only few records. So these are all the records I have. So I can see this. So I can see the record ID, created date, creation date, all the fields in the system. Means all the fields in this particular object I can see. Okay. So now we'll see import, how we can import. Suppose I have same suppose I have same data. Okay, so I'm using same object. Okay, we'll modify little bit, and then we'll try to create some records for event object only. So we'll see like currently we can see how many records, 5 records only. So right, like if we will create few more records, that means we'll create another file using import management. So for that, I'm going to import management screen. Okay. So this is also similar screen of exports. So there we can see import status, all that. Here we can see export status. The UI and the way of using navigation is mostly similar, almost similar. So now here we have different like before importing we need to know which object, which fields we need to import. So all that template we need to build first, and then we need to fill that file, and then we can use that file to import. Right? There are few steps before importing, like getting the data, arranging it properly, and making it a file like to import, where like that should understand by this import management tool. So and then so if it understands, then it can process and it can import, right? So for that, what we can do is we can go to this import object. Okay. And from here we can get the image, we can get the template for a particular object. So if we go to import objects, so here if I again search for event object, so in export object, whatever you are seeing in the header, those are display names. So display names, these are not the API names or backend names. So these are the display value names. But when it we'll see the difference in import management template. So we have this option to download a template file for event object. I'll download it and I'll open. You can notice the first row will tell the API names. Right? These are all the API names. If you see, there will be underscore C, all that. But the below one is the display name. So now what we will do is, so if you see here, the required fields are three fields, right? And that too, ID, record name, owner. So out of this four, record number will automatically generate, ID will also automatically generate, and this is owner. This will be set by automatically. Whoever is creating that record, they will be the owner. So we should give only record name in this particular case. If we want to add more fields, we can add. So now what I'm doing, I'm just using this record name and few fields maybe. So or event type or event location will use these fields because we know this values, right? Okay. So now this is the like we can consider it as a template. Now what we need to do is we need to remove whatever fields we don't want. So I don't want ID and record name, owner ID, record number. Okay, because these are generated by system itself, so we don't need to give. And even currency code, if I want, I can give, but this is also default to the default currency, so I am not entering this one also. So before that, what we'll see is we'll go to the event object and we'll see any other fields, any text fields or checkboxes. We'll see, and we'll try to use those. So event location I'm keeping it, event name I'm keeping, event type also I'm keeping. So okay, here registered attendees. So this is a number field. I can find here. So I'm giving it some 4. Okay, and travel expenses. This is a number field. Okay, or currency field. So I'm giving some number here. Travel expenses, some $2,000 or whatever currency will be selected here, and then travel expenses. Okay, this is the travel expenses. Then event capacity. Event capacity is again a number. So I'm giving some 12, 23, whatever. And the event type I'm giving it as a we saw something, right? So what is that? Orientation. Yeah. So here this is, since it is a lookup, right? So we should give the backend, that is lookup code we should give. Orientation in capital is the lookup code. This is the display value, lookup value. So whenever we are using this import, right? So if it is a DCL, so if we are, suppose we are in somewhere we are using contact field here, we should give contact ID. We should not give contact name. So we should always use IDs in place of any DCLs. And if it is a FCL, we should use the lookup code. Okay, so these fields are sufficient for me. So remaining fields I'm just deleting deleting. But if you want, we can give it. So this location also I will enter. Event name I can give something, event 1. Recruiter rating I don't want. Waitlist also don't want. And so even this I don't want. And so since this is a display name, we can't use display name to import. So I'm deleting even this one also. So now, so these are sufficient to create record, right? Even in UI, like even in UI, we just need to give this event name. This is sufficient. So remaining all, it will take not required. Some of fields are not required, and some fields will automatically populated by the system. So in import also, it works same way. So I'm giving event name, and with that I'm also giving few other values. So now if I want to give few more records, I'll just enter like this. Okay. So now I have how many records? 7 records I have. So out of 7 rows, the first one is header. That will tell the field name. So to which field name, what is the value? Okay. So that it will tell first row. So now we should save this file. Okay. Sorry. Like if you see the last row, we don't have this 3 fields value. So I'm just copying it. So now we should save this file as CSV file. So import will understand only CSV file. We can't upload Excel, but we can view in Excel. So we should use CSV files only to save. So I'll give event import file. I'm saving it. So now I'll again go to import screen. I'll go to import queue. Now file preparation is ready. So we have prepared file, and I'm clicking create import activity. So also there is option for importing object hierarchy, like suppose if there is any dependency like parent and child object. So this import object hierarchy can be used to import any dependencies. I'm uploading this file here, and same way we can use this delimiter, all that based on this file. Since I'm uploading CSV file, I'm selecting comma only. And here you can see the import mode. Okay. And one more thing to note is like this time format, date and time format. So whatever, if we have some date fields in this file, right? So the date format should be like this. Date and date time format should be like this. So if we select something else, and according to that, the file in the file, the date format should be there. And import mode, we have these three import modes: deleting record, so for to delete any record, for creating any record, and the first one is create and update. So in this case, how it will do is, first it will check for any ID. So we didn't put any ID, right? Record number or ID we didn't put. So because there is no key value, it will consider this as a new record and it will import. If it found some key, right, so then it will automatically update the existing record. So I'm keeping it update and create records mode, and then you can see enable high volume import. So this will help to import bulk data like up to 5 lakhs 5 lakh records. But what will happen if this in this case, if we select enable high volume import, and if the data is more, then this checkbox we need to delete, we need to remove. So the reason is, if we enable this checkbox, it will run all the scripts written in that particular object, all the scripts, expressions, validations, everything, all the groovy will run if we select this checkbox. Then again, notification to check whether it's correct or not, like import status. So after that, we can even schedule. So for now, I'm selecting immediate and I'm clicking next for mapping. So now if you see, whatever the fields or names here you are seeing under column header, those are coming from the file. So in file we gave these columns, so it identified and it gave the value. The example value is the very first record value, it will take as an example value. And attribute display name is, so in event object, what is the like mapping? So to this field, which field I need to use, means, or the values, or we are mentioning, right, this 23. So where it should go to? It should go to event capacity or some other field. So that we can change here. So by default, if we give like this, right, API names, it will automatically identify the attribute display name based on this API name. If we give some other name in the Excel file, it won't identify. And then here we need to select manually. So that I can show you how we can select even manually. So to edit, we need to save this mapping. Okay, now it came in editable mode. So suppose if I gave something wrong name here, so what it will come like this. It won't map this field, and it will come like in the blank. So now we should drag and drop from here. So this is travel expenses, right? So I'll search for travel. Okay, I found one field. Okay, so I can use this drag and drop option. Okay, or I can use this particular one, move attribute from source to target, or target to source. So so for that we just need to click on this particular row, and then if we select this move attribute button, so it will be mapped. So my mapping looks good now, and I'm saving it and I'm clicking next for further step. I'm just reviewing. It all looks good for me, and submitting. Same way, like export, first it will come under queue, and then it will start importing, like, means mapping validation. Then we can see here one more option I missed is the validation. So when we upload that file, right, and during the mapping stage, we can see one button called validate. So if we click on that, it will validate the first 10 rows in the file, and it will check is there any data, like if we put some wrong format in place of number field, if we put some text, so it will throw error there itself without importing. So we can review those errors, and we can again change those values in the file, and then we can again import. So that's how this validation will be helpful. So as soon as we submit import, the mapping file will be generated, and the import file that we are using, that will also attach it here. So once this mapping is once this import is completed, so we can see the if somehow some records are errored out, we can see those error file here, or some records maybe it will succeed, right? So for that, there it will create a log file. So that way we can track even after importing. So it is prepared the data input completely, and now it's importing. Also, if we hover on this, here we can see importing data 0 by 0. So it means it can tell the percentage or number of records, how many records are importing, how many records are yet to be imported. So all that we can see here. Yeah, it completed successfully. So if we have any errors right in between, so it will show this here it as a error completed like completed with errors. So it means there are some errors here. So we can review those errors. And status also we can see here. Read from file is 7. So out of those, loaded successfully are showing 0. Okay, so no record is imported. And error 1 we can see. So it says total records read from file is 7 and loaded 0 and all 7 are errored. Okay, so to review that error records, what we can do in the attachments, we'll get the validation file error, or right, we can get that. So rejected user data or validation file. This will give detail of error information. So I'll download first that. We'll see what it is saying. It is saying the value of attribute record underscore name is not valid. Please enter record name for custom object. So it is saying the value we entered record name. Okay. I think what we missed is like if we go from UI, right, we are giving event name. So I think that name we are missing here. I'll just give a record name. So this is a field for record name. So I'll use same format. I'll make it version 2. Let's say this. Okay, now I found the error and then I try to fix. We'll see again. We'll create again the import activity. So if we do the validation, right, at that time only we could like we should be knowing about this error. So that's why like validation is also important. Now we'll see that validation part also. So I'm disabling this high volume input. I'm not importing much data, right? So just I'm unchecking. Then it mapped automatically, and here I can see validate data. So what it will do is it will take in the file the first 10 rows and it will start validating. Currently we have only 7, so it is validating all the records. So if any errors, we can see here itself. Okay, so now it is saying no validation errors or warnings were found. So we are almost good. And then we can click next, submit. Again, we'll wait for some time. Meanwhile, Yeah, now you can see read from file is 7, loaded successfully, and error reported 0. So so now we can check the imported records. We can use again same export. We can, if we export again, it should come the records. The records like existed previously, and the records will just now be imported. So all records should come. So for now, we'll just go to UI and then we'll check. Yeah. So if you see here, event 1, event 2, event 3, event 4, all are created today. If I open any record, we can see other details: registered return days, event capacity, budget, right? Orientation I gave, event location I gave as Hyderabad. So all of that I can see. And why that first import file is failed is, so the event name, whatever we are seeing here, this is a like, it seems it is a standard one. And also there is one more field, the custom one. So we gave only two custom field. So that's why I gave for standard one also. So that's all about imports and even exports. So I'll stop recording.